Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Raceface.Pro iRacing GT3 Pro Division Round 6 at the beautiful circuit of Long Beach, where our drivers are going to have to handle the city streets, bring out their inner Fast and Furious, who is going to go the entire mile around one of the most technical street circuits that you can get. The high speed down the main straight before you have to start winding your way through the narrow corners of Long Beach. My name is Stephen Koenig and welcome to you all. And we are going to be kicking it off underway with our qualifying. And you can see a couple of drivers making their way through. Let's take a look at the points just before we go and give it a bit of an idea of who is sitting where for round 6 of the championship, considering there's 8 rounds. It's Yuri Swart going to be leading out the championship on 227 points. Justin Eloff running in second place on 209 points. Only 1 point away, Julian Familiaris, followed by Luke Lucchesi, Ryan Ottens, Robin Bricknick, Bego Krobler, Bradley Searle, along with Bert Gildenaes, Jaco van Lith running a little bit further down. And then we have got Sean Stratton, Byron Mitchell, Yasin Ishmael, Paul Gerber, along with Werner Swart, Jacques Haver, Sergei Sarkov, and Gianluca Fabrio in 18th position. A little bit further down that order, we have got Werner Skuman, Johnson van Arswagen, along with Yasamai, Nico Killerman, Noah Hendricks, Henry Mayer, Fleming Bauer, Jens van Rensburg, Mark Heron, Christopher Radloff. As we go further down, it's Dami Herber, Luka Logovic, Jason Kutsia, along with Willem Buerta, Faz Tar, going and running a little bit further there. Sean Sims, Stephen Kutzer, Ryan DeToy, Mario Rez, rounding out in 38th. Daniel Rowe, Chris Erasmus, Florian Cleller, along with Malcolm Pringle, Kabila Matsumai, and Gerard Vermillion going and rounding out our pack. That being said, we are underway with qualifying, and a couple of times have been put on the board so far for our drivers, and it is going to be a bit of a wild ride. So, leading out the pack though, Luke Lucchesi is told in first place, trying to improve his lap time. And after a few difficult races, he's hoping to make a big impact here tonight and ensure he stays in for the running order of the fight as we are on board with him. Yasimai running in second place at current. Third, Justin Eloff, along with Bego Krobler, Johan Bego Krobler. In fourth, Werner Skuman, riding it in fifth place. Sergei Sarkov currently in sixth, along with Werner Swart, Jacques Haver, Bradley Searle, a little bit further down in 9th, 10th place, Yasin Ishmael, Jaco van der Lith, Yuri Swart, Paul Gerber, Bert Gildenaes, and Willem Buerta yet to put a time on the board. Bradley Searle improving his lap time with a 119.4. Luke Lucchesi with a 118.6. Justin Eloff currently running with a 119.1 to keep as close as he can. Werner Swart with a big jump up into 5th place with his impressive time, as more and more drivers trying to get that little bit more on the board, leaving 3 drivers. Yuri Swart, who's making his way through. He was quite confident. He enjoys the Long Beach circuit, and yet to put a time on the board. We'll have to work a little bit harder there. Bert Gildenaes running a little bit further down, and Willem Buerta will be rounding out the pack as he tries to charge his way through the very narrow circuit here at Long Beach. We'll have to keep an eye on how the drivers are going to deal with this. Luke Lucchesi going and being happy with his time. Justin Eloff not going to be too happy with his as he's trying to improve. Got to get to a 118 like Luke Lucchesi managed to do, but it's going to be a tough time out there to ensure he gets it done and dusted as he fights his way through in that 992 GT3R. And the Porsche going and giving it everything he's got. So far, good running for the Porsches, going and holding out 1-2. But yes, with the Audi, don't count him out. That Audi R8 Evo is an incredibly quick car. And the Asymmetric Racing team do work incredibly hard with the vehicle to get it all the way up. Werner Skuman up into 5th place as Yuri Swart jumps up into 2nd place after putting in a 118.7. Justin Eloff going only 0.1 of a second behind him. Will continue on his ride through it all. So, Gracie drivers going and battling their way through. And we have got Alessandro out there in the virtual grandstands. A big welcome to everyone joining us here this evening. And it's going to be a great one. Gotta say, Circuit of Long Beach, really fun circuit if you can get it all right. But when it all goes wrong through the tight corners, it does make life rather interesting. As Yasin pulls into the pits, he's going to be getting himself sorted. Now, that does bring us to our next one. The pits in this circuit is incredibly difficult. Coming out of the final corner, you got to hold a very tight right to dive into the pits and get it done and dusted. But it also does have where everyone's trying to slipstream you. The pit lane is rather short on the entry. It's a bit of a 90-degree that you have to get sorted out. Yasin on a good run, trying to improve his lap time. Is it going to be enough, though? As he tries to make up a bit of time. Vega Krobler down in sectors. Urium Piswat down in sector 2. Yaz up in sector 2, 3. Can he make it work? Coming across the line. And just not able to do it. Will come to a stop. And he wasn't able to improve his lap time. It's a bit of a blow there. Sergei Sarkov not improving his time. And let's see if the likes of Yasin is able to improve his, as he's absolutely hammering it through the city streets on the way through. Jakob van Lith trying to improve his lap time. Sector 1, Sector 3 were the best, but unfortunately 2 and 4 did not work out for him in this running order, and he will be maintaining his position. Urium Piswat quickest in Sector 2, hoping that that's going to be his absolute best. As we carry on looking, Yasin pulls into the pits. He is going to be waiting out. Urium Piswat down the back end of the circuit, trying everything he can. Late on the anchors, throws the car through into the right-hander, quick left-hander, carry the power before you reach an extremely tight hairpin. We're going to see drivers really try and clamp on the anchors, spin the car around, back onto the power. Urium Piswat looking like he may be able to get Luke Lucchese here. Comes across the line. Is it going to be enough to put him out into first place? And unfortunately not. Urium Piswat was not able to improve his time and will sit in second place. Luke Lucchese holds that first place as he gets nice and close to the barriers to ensure he keeps going. Bert Gildenace trying to get a little bit more drive to put a time on the board. Sector 1, Sector 3 up, and is he going to be able to do it again? Unfortunately, Sector 4 couldn't quite get the drive. Willem Buerta up in Sector 3. Bert Gildenace does put himself into 9th place. Willem Buerta trying to get a time on the board. Currently 1 and 2 didn't work out for him, but 3 worked out. Now let's see if Sector 4 can be his best friend as he battles his way through. Slides the car around, gets onto the power. The 992 going and screaming its guts out at this moment as he comes across the line and just going to put in a time of a 1:18.668, moving him up into 4th place. Incredible drive on his part. And that means all drivers have put a time on the board that they can be quite happy with after the start. So 1:19.156 for Willem Buerta. And he has done quite a great job. Yes, am I rather happy to be starting out in 5th place. And welcome, Yaz. Good to see you out on track. Looking forward to a great race nonetheless. So as drivers will be getting ready for their running order at the beautiful circuit of Long Beach, we wish to welcome you all here to Raceface.Pro for round 6 of the championship. And it's going to be a bit of a tight one. This is our pro division. We do have a pro-am division running at the same time. And this 3.1 kilometer circuit is going to be a rather challenging one. Track temperature is a little bit high, 34 degrees. Means that drivers are going to have to keep their head on their shoulders and work their way through here, because these tires are going to be under some immense stress nonetheless. Let's take a look at our gridding positions, as Luke Lucchese will be starting out in 1st place. Urium Piswat in 2nd. Justin Eloff will be running in 3rd. Willem Buerta runs in 4th. Yaz Samai in 5th place. Werner Skuman will be in 6th, along with Werner Swart. Bradley Searle running a little bit further down in 8th. Bego Krobler in 9th, 10th place. Bert Gildenace, Sergei Sarkov, and Yasin Ismail running in 12th. Going a little bit further down the order, we do have the likes of Jacques Sever going and running in 13th for the Rhino Utility team, and Paul Gerber in 14th, and Jakob van Lith running in 15th position. And Jacques Sever going and being part of the series sponsor and partner for Raceface.Pro for the last couple of races and this season for both our ACC, and our iRacing. That being said, though, it's going to be all eyes towards Luke Lucchesi as he'll look to try and get the jump on the entirety of the field. It is a bit of a formation lap that is needed to get going to try and build up some heat into those tires, into the brakes, and ensure they get ready to rock and roll around this very, very tight circuit. And drivers will have to be well aware of what they need to do to ensure they stay up towards the sharp end of the field. They're going to have to come across this line over here to get ready to go racing and ensure that they're in for the running order. So Luke Lucchesi will start it off. Yuri Umpiswat going to be in second place. 45 minutes of racing with one mandatory pit stop where the tire changes have to happen, and you will be getting back out onto the track. Open setup for our drivers to ensure that they can have a bit of fun, set themselves up for the win, and who's going to be able to make it work around this very, very tight circuit. You can see how narrow it actually is as Yuri Umpiswat trying to get his tires up and sorted. Off to the roll bar of Yuri Umpiswat, and you can see trying to build up as much friction as possible in the tires. A quick left to right, sitting on the brakes a little bit just to try and generate some heat and keeping a very close eye on Luke Lucchesi. It's going to come down to the lights for the run. Luke Lucchesi in the front row will want to try and get this done and dusted early on. Justin Eloff will have a shot at them because he is running in second place in the championship. Remember, he needs to score big points here. Willem Buerta further up the order than where he always wants to be, and will be going ensuring he runs for a good time. As cars make their way through, a bit of a slow go as drivers going in that hairpin, not going to be too happy with trying to turn them, and it's 2-ton tanks. Lights on, and we are racing for round 6 of the championship. Luke Lucchesi and Yuri Umpiswat look to battle it out, heading towards turn 1. Justin Eloff getting the run on Willem Buerta as all the drivers make their way through. It's going to be hard on the anchors into turn 1, and it's going to be, looks like Luke Lucchesi, middle of the circuit, keeps it all in bay. Yuri Umpiswat runs in second place, trying everything he can, and he's got Justin Eloff along with the likes of Willem Buerta right up onto the tail. Werner Skuman gets the run through, gets past Yasamai, and now looks to try and break away as early as possible. Werner Swart in the McLaren. Oh, big loss for Bradley. Bradley's gone into the wall, and it looks like he has caught out Johan Bego Krobler. Bradley Searle, unfortunately, losing that rear end on the cold tires. Bego Krobler getting caught up and was able to slow the car down just enough, but not going to be an easy drive for him on the way back. Tight circuits definitely playing into the hands of a couple of drivers here as our top 4 remain undeterred. Werner Skuman, who's just lost out his teammate for the Pandassi team, is now going to have to keep an eye on Yasamai and Werner Swart, tailing him on the way through. Sergei Sarkov in the Mustang is looking to try and just get himself a little bit further up the road as he's got Bert Gildenaes all over the back of him. And Gildenaes not backing out. Yasamai trying for some defensive procedures here as he's got Jacques Ever hunting down left and right. Late on the brakes as the McLaren's really trying to get the drive. Paul Gerber getting a sensational drive. And our Rhino utility of Jaco van der Lith still doing everything he can to maintain the run. So drivers are really having to work a bit hard here. But it is starting to open up the gap for Yuri Umpiswat, Luke Lucchesi, Justin Eloff. But Willem Buerta is staying hard onto the tail at the moment as he makes his way through and ensuring he can keep going. Let's quickly take a look back towards lap 1 for Bradley Searle. And there is a bit of damage to the car to show you how much damage he's actually taken. The steering bent, the rear axle bent, nothing left on the rear deck, and trying to limp that car around. Not going to be an easy one. So as we keep an eye out on the drivers, as they maintain a bit of their pace, Willem Buerta puts the pressure on Justin Eloff, continuing on that toe, wanting to ensure he stays in for the mix there. And we have got the likes of Werner Skuman, who's got Yasamai all over the back of him. Now, Yas did start out in 5th. He's going to try and reclaim that position. He wasn't able to. He's got a little bit of damage on the front left of the car and wants to try and keep the momentum at this point. Bert Gildenaes a little bit further down also on the back of Sergei Sarkov, that Mustang. Not getting away from him. He tries to go for the inside line. Oh, just unfortunately losing that little bit of traction. Standing on the power a little bit too early. And unfortunately lighting up those rears. Unable to get the drive that's needed. Tucks into the toe. Pulls himself along. Bradley in the pits. Now the team does have a multitude of spares to try and put that car back together. But he is going to be a couple laps down. and he's going to have to work really hard to try and bring it back. A little bit of strategy needed in play here, as we do see Bert Gildenace doing everything he can to remain as close as he can to the back of that Mustang without getting caught out. He doesn't want to lose a toe all the way through as well. So it's going to be a tough run for the drivers as they get so close to the Long Beach circuit walls. This is a street circuit, so the ground is uneven. The drivers are having to cater through multitude of grip, whether it be on the normal racing line, whether it be for anyone that's taking a road car, and it's also rather flat, so you just got to get the run on your competitors to ensure you stay in for the fight here. And so far, Sergei Sarkov doing a brilliant job. Yaz Semi, on the other hand, is also getting a little bit of pressure put onto the back of Werner Swart on his tail as he tries to fight out Werner Skuman just ahead of him. Now you can see the little bit of damage to the likes of Werner Skuman's car as he clipped the wall ever so slightly in lap 1 and carrying on the drive. Bradley Searle looks like he may be back out on the circuit, and good to see him out there. So Bradley doing a fantastic job to keep his momentum, keep out on the track, and always put his head back into it. That is fantastic to see, as not throwing in the towel into the fountain, and out they go. Bert Gildenace tried going and sending brakes a little bit later onto the back of Sergei Sarkov. Couldn't quite get that drive. We'll have to wait out a little bit longer. Yes, am I in the tow, trying to pull himself along, and really that Audi R8 GT3 Evo not having an easy time against the Ferrari 296 just ahead of him. He's going to have to really dig deep and see where he can get the run on as we jump on board into second gear. A little bit of a tank slapper as he gets close to the wall, riding the power as hard as he can at this point and trying to keep within tow. Looks for the inside line, trying to see maybe is there an opportunity. Unfortunately not. A little bit too far back there, but just wanting to see if Werner Skuman was going to go for a more defensive line, trying to compromise his drive into the hairpin now. This is hard braking down into first gear. Cross your arms, get back on the power, and try and get yourself going. Oh, we are getting a little bit of a story here. It looks like Sergei Sarkov running into a bit of a problem. And Sergei with Bert Gildenace a little bit unsettled over the curbs. He's just fine. And where did it all go wrong for the Mustang? Oh, just lost the rear over the curbs. Gildenace gets on by, and the entirety of the field get going. And Sergei recovers away from the wall, but will have to maintain a bit of a drive here to ensure he can stay in for the race. Yes, and Werner Skuman still having it blow for blow at this point, trying to chase each other down. You can see how close they are to one another as they continue on the drive. Werner Skuman not backing down from this fight, will look to try and close up the gap to Willem Buerta, probably thinking maybe if he can run it a little bit deeper into his stint before going and swapping out, it may help him out in this race to try and outpace Yaz Amai. As mentioned, they do have that mandatory pit stop they need to serve. They don't have to put fuel, they can change their tires, but these drivers are now running as light as they can for the early start and try and move their way up through the order. It's roughly about 30 seconds they need to sit in the pits to get themselves sorted. Late on the brakes, big power send for the likes of Werner Skuman. Yaz once again staying right onto his tail, not wanting to lose out any bit of traction there, and Werner Swart slowly tapering off at the moment. 1:19.0 being Luke Leclerc's fastest time, still leads out the pack. Yaz might look for the inside into turn 1, couldn't quite go and get that worked out for him, and pulls back into the tow as Werner Skuman soaking up the pressure at this point. Werner Swart, on the other hand, in the McLaren, showing a little bit more power play here. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the McLaren's got as nimble nature to the two cars ahead of him, so he's got to keep that well in mind. Paul Gerber getting nice and close as well in the Team Tryhard onto the back of Jacques Evers, and will try his absolute damnedest. Gets a little bit unsteady on the power though, and Jacques Evers getting some breathing room at this point to just continue on the drive as he chases down Yasin Ismail a bit of ahead of him. A bit of a tank slapper coming once again. Paul Gerber trying and nipping at the heels of Jacques at the moment, trying to see where can he get by. Going to go chase him down. This is where you can get an optimal amount of drive to stay in for the fight, but you need to be right as close as you can into the braking zone. Make it work. Don't drift too far out wide because it tightens up this left-hander. As you can see, Paul Gerber having a bit of a problem. Hold left, hold left, hold left, and swing it in right to try and feed the power on as Jacques Ever gets a bit unsettled on the way through. You can see how that's compromised his drive. Paul Gerber going to be quite happy. Yes, am I into pit lane. Going to be serving his pit stop, getting it done and dusted, and will be charging out a little bit later. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting time for him. A very, very long pit lane. But an early pit stop, nonetheless, will drop him down 9 positions on the running order. Luke Duquesne leads out the pack with Yuri Umpiswat running in second place on the way through. Justin Nieloff, along with Willem Buerta, Werner Skuman, and Werner Swart, trying his luck at this point. So everyone just battling it out, and I can tell you, in the car, not going to be an easy one, as the circuit is all about trying to keep it together, keeping your rhythm, and if you've got any aches and pains in the joints, you are going to feel it over the course of this race, as drivers will have to drive through a lot of the difficult situations. Bego Krobler making up a bit of time onto the back of Jakob van der Lith, part of the Rhino utility team in that Ferrari 296 ahead of him. Bego Krobler trying to chase him down, do everything he can to fight his way through. And our virtual grandstands going a bit alive, going a bit wild, as we do see many, many more interesting fights. Honor coming in saying, how's it to our drivers? Absolutely grand to have you, ladies and gentlemen. It's fantastic to see you guys all here. And we are starting to see a couple of pit lanes happening. Paul Gerber into the pits to get himself sorted out. Mandatory pit stop being served. He's keeping an eye. That is a response to Yaz Samai, who's already done his pit stop and will continue on his drive to battle his way through. So a couple of drivers seeing where it's all going to work out for them. Jakob van der Lith trying to keep it all together. Around the fountain they go. And back onto the power as they slide their way through. Very, very tough time for our drivers to really stick it out and go that little bit further up the road. Who is going to be keeping themselves on the running as we keep an eye on our top running. Luke Lucchese still leads out the pack, and you can see just some beautiful shots over the circuit. Gives you a bit of a sense of how tight and how narrow the circuit is. Very fine line that you got to go as we get onto our speed cams, but a nice one, giving us a sense of what's happening out there, how fast they just come screaming past, and how close they need to get to the walls. Yuri Umpiswat doing everything he can to stay onto the back of Luke Lucchese. A bit of a rattle, a bit of a shake, a bit of a go, and a bit of a race as Luke tries to open up that gap. Jacques Everett pulling into the pits, serving his pit stop, trying to get it out the way so he can continue on the drive. And it does look like Bert Kildenace is going to continue on his run onto the back of Werner Swart just up the road. The Altered Carbon now going to fight out Kildenace, who's very, very close. Beautiful blue on that car and having a bit of fun. Bit of a old school sort of livery coming into play as they make their way through. Bego Krobler onto the back of Jakob van der Lith after a bit of a slow up at the start. Getting caught out by Bradley Searle, who is going and landing up a little bit further down. Bradley's still ticking over though, so I wouldn't count him out of the fight. He is starting to chip his way back into the race, little by little. Werner Swart side by side with Bert Kildenace. McLaren stuck on the outside. Is he going to be able to get it just enough on the brakes? Bert's going to hold the inside line. He's got the advantage. Diving into the right-hander. Can he get it all sorted out into the left? Werner Swart's going to have the inside line. And unfortunately, made the corner way too tight for himself. And that just helped out the likes of Kildenace to get onto the power and continue on the drive. But gets a little bit of a poor exit now. So we will see Werner Swart starting to close out that gap as much as possible to stay in for the fight. The McLaren's got some serious legs on it, but doesn't have the same cornering as the Porsche up ahead. These drivers trying to fight it out around the city streets. You can see the glow of the brake disc on Werner Swart's car as he tried to slow the Porsche down and stay in for the fight. Bego Krobler now into the pit lane as well, trying to get himself sorted out. Paul Gerber onto the back of Jacques Ever as he tries to continue on his drive. Looks for the inside line. The McLaren, unfortunately, not having the legs. And these two will be trying to figure out what's going to be the next plan here. How can they get a little bit more drive? Paul Gerber, who has served his pit stop, will need to ensure he keeps going. So far, a couple of cars doing their pit stops, got it done and dusted. we'll have to see how far they can put it into the race. YSMI, Bego Krobler, Jacques Ever, Paul Gerber, and Bradley Searle has done their pit stops. Everyone from 1st to 10th yet to do their pit stop, as it looks like Bego Krobler now rolling. He's going to come out amongst this pack, as it's a very, very long pit lane. You can't cross the blue lines on the left-hand side. You have to drive all the way down towards turn 1 to make it work. Otherwise, you're going to be in a world of trouble as the McLarens duke it out. One of our closest fights out on circuit with the likes of Paul Gerber and Jacques Ever, who's just a bit ahead. The Rhino Utility just keeping an eye in the mirrors, goes up very close to the wall and continuing on the drive as they push on that little bit further up the road. 120.225 for Yasin, and you can see how the rest of the field all starting to run at the same times, just constantly trying to chip away at what they can do at this point. Paul Gerber, a little bit of contact into the wall there, and that's going to take the bite out of his car. Going to feel a little bit of aero work on the run through. But taking a look over to our virtual grandstands, we do have Armour going and saying, how's it? Along with Roy Oaks the Badger, that's Jason Jones, one of the streamers, jumping in, going and keeping an eye on the racing action. And I was having a chat to a couple of our virtual spectators out there in the virtual grandstands, going and saying that the racing itself is turning into quite an exciting affair. Luca Kesi, though, now in the tow and trying to get pulled along. Bego Krobler just up ahead, trying everything he can to continue on the drive. And Bego doesn't want to come off the gas too quickly here. He's trying to also close up the run. And in terms of the rules, you're allowed to hold your racing line. It's up to the car behind you to go and find a safe way to get past. But you can't fight for that position. You got to help facilitate the pass and not land up with a world of issues. And that's one thing a couple of the drivers are having to work their way through. Sergei Sarkov still on the drive, trying to improve his time. YSMI down 6 positions, will continue on to try and chip away at the field on the way through. So times opening up for every single one of these drivers. At the moment, Luke Lucchesi wants to get on by as quick as he can, as Yuri Swart just waiting out that little bit longer, ensure he can stay in for the fight. Currently in second place, Justin Eloff running in third. And remember, these are the championship fighters at the moment, each trying to improve and with a good amount of points for the race if they can get into the position. First place, Luke Lucchesi with 75 points. Second place will get 69. Third place, 64. Fourth place, 60. And fifth place, 57, along with sixth, 54. Seventh, 51. 8th, 48 points. 9th, 45. And 10th, getting 42 points. And it's critical to the championship, especially now that we're getting closer and closer towards the end of it. Round 8 will be the running order of the race. So they got to win big here to ensure they get going before we hit Spa, where it's going to be the longest race. It's going to be an enduro at that time. The drivers are going to have to really figure out what they're going to do. So the sprint racing is all up for grabs here to score as many points as possible. Luke Lucchesi finally freeing himself around past Bego Krobler as we take to the city streets of Long Beach. A very interesting and tight circuit that does race GT racing. It does race IndyCar racing on the city streets, which is always a tough time out there for many, many drivers. If you can work your way through a city street, it's pretty much like you can go and have a interesting run with the drivers out on North Schleifer. I think it's one of these sort of circuits, if you can get it right, you're in for the win. You can manage and negotiate very tight circuits until they start bringing out things like Monaco or a variety of other street circuits to come in and have a bit of fun. Gotta say, it would be fun to have one of our own street circuits brought in, much like Durban or Cape Town, that's actually run a street circuit here in South Africa. Who knows? iRacing, we're going to challenge you. Come and put some of the South African stuff on. We've got street circuits. We've got the likes of normal racing circuits, dirts, ovals. We got the variety here, even drag racing and hill climb, because there's only one hill climb circuit in the iRacing suite. It would be nice to see a little bit more hill climb racing coming into play. Bert Hildenes onto the back of Werner Skuman, trying to get a little bit more of a drive and doing everything he can. Werner Skuman just wants to maintain a little bit more pace at this point. Not having an easy time. Over the curb they go. and really tries to keep the hammer down. Couldn't quite get it. So Werner Skuman will have to try his best. Late onto the anchor, swings the car around. Bert Gildenaes will continue on the drive as this Porsche snaps around, chasing down the Ferrari 296 just ahead of him. Runs out a little bit wide, gets onto the power, and continues on the toe, chasing him down. So far, Werner Skuman soaking up the pressure yet again from Bert Gildenaes. Gildenaes just going to be layering it on, and the Porsche looking a little bit more wild this time around. He is not holding back and wants to continue on the drive. We go into the helmet cam, just get a sense of what's happening out there. You can see cross arms through the hairpin and back onto the power, high into the rev range to just feed as much power as he can. The one with the Porsches is you got to wait till the double, as soon as it gets that blue on the dash, that's when you go up the gears. You want to bring it right into the rev range, especially for sprint racing, and then bring it all the way down to try and slow the car up. A couple of drivers having to work their way through the fountain, and it is going to be cross arms all the way. These tires are definitely starting to drop off for the likes of Gildenaes, and fighting as late as they can to really keep it all in order. Now into the toe, and will be fighting up. Werner Skuman of the Pandassi team looking to try and keep this drive as much as possible from Bert Gildenaes, as these two are absolutely duking it out. Point 2, you can see Werner having a little bit of a later entry into the corner to try and hold back Gildenaes. Gildenaes looks on the inside, outside. Now Werner Skuman's going to have the advantage. He's got the right-hand corner. He's going to have to go late on the anchors here. If Gildenaes is going to be a big fight and a huge run through the order, closing onto the tail and seeing where the drivers are going to get going. Proper racing nonetheless, and will be ensuring that they can keep going through it all, as drivers will be going and making their way through. And let's see how our drivers are going to deal with some very tough circuits. Now remember, they still need to get these pit stops done and dusted. We're into 20 minutes of the race done and dusted, and this is generally where we start to see drivers going and looking at the pit lane. They do have that fast repair available to them, so the likes of Werner Skuman will be able to get that nose fixed, but they do have a mandatory tire change that's needed. That's going to take a fair amount of time, and it's also if they need to add fuel. So what was your fueling like? How close are you to it? And is that going to work out? As we do see Werner Skuman holds a very tight line. Gildenaes gets a fantastic drive out of the corner. Got very close. Straight lining it all the way through. Is it going to be enough though? Chasing down. Going to be late on the brakes. Oh, just couldn't do it. He tried his best though. And what a run for him on the go. So great to see. And there is a bit of a show of what's happening. Skuman just managing to hold on, but sector 2 and 3, he is way down on the time. Werner Swart a little bit further down the order, also getting a bit of a run. As Skuman pulls into the pits, he's getting his pit stop done and dusted, and will continue on his drive on the way through. So now we're starting to see those pit lanes, that top 10, starting to get a little bit closer to one another. Paul Gerber all over the back of Jacques Ever, and Jacques, incredibly consistent driver in that Rhino utility, going and powering his way through, has got the likes of the RDSA, Luke Becchesi, who's made quick work of him. Jakob van der Lith into pit lane as well. So now it's only our top 8 needing to do the pit stop, and Yurion Pissoir tailing off quite badly at the moment. He's trying everything he can to try and keep it all in order. We have got Sergei Sarkov, our international driver, against Yasin Ismail, who is on the run at the moment. You can see some beautiful colors there. A bit of a Ferrari mix of the black and yellow with that Raven on the side. Absolutely great. See, oh, big tank slapper coming from Sergei Sarkov, having that snap oversteer, getting on the power a little bit too early. They do run lower TCs on these cars, especially for the circuit, to try and allow a little bit more rotation on it. You don't want to have too much of an understeery car, especially on a very tight circuit. You want to get in and out through these hairpins as quick as possible. It's also very fast and flowing, so you are not relying on aero. You're more working on your mechanical grip. Bert Gildenaes now into the pit lane as a bit of a workout here. He needs to keep ahead of Yaz Mai. That's going to be the big one for him, as we do see Sergei trying everything he can. And we do see Yasin pulling into the pits. So it's going to be opening up Sergey to keep onto the power a little bit longer as they maintain their drive. Good to see drivers really figuring out what they need to do on the running order. So let's go through the running order as it's Luke Lucchesi runs in first place. Yurian Piswat running in second. He's going to be tailing onto our two back markers at this point. Justin Eloff down in third. Willem Buerta holds fourth place at current with Werner Swart for the Altered Carbon Racing. Sixth place, Sergei Sarkov running close to the wall with the Mustang. Has got Bert Gildenaes still in pit lane trying to get going. Yasin Ismail now getting going. They're going to lose out to Yaz Samai, who was one of our earlier pit stops, who managed to jump his way into 7th position. The undercut seems to have worked. Now he's just got to pick up this pace and continue on the drive to try and close up to Sergei Sarkov just a little bit ahead. Paul Gerber has an opportunity to try and close up to Jacques Ever. He does see the likes of Yurian Piswat closing up on him, looks for the inside line, dives in for turn 1, continues on the power. Now he has got the advantage here to get pulled along, keep going. Werner Swart now into pit lane, serving his pit stop. 24 minutes of the race completed, and now Paul Gerber has an opportunity to get pulled along by our second place driver. Yurian Piswat has got an opportunity to get clear in before the corners. Going to be a bit of a wild one as we do see pit stops starting to come in. They have to get these tires sorted out and get going yet again, but they're also trying to revive some of the tires in it. But so far, biggest win has to be the likes of Yas and Mai starting his climb. Werner Swart still in pit lane, getting a tire change done and dusted, and here comes Yas and Mai. He's going to be going and getting yet another position, as Werner Swart only managing to get going just a fraction ahead. You can see in the pit lane, going to be a drag race. And Yaz, yet again, with that early pit stop, has worked out for a beautiful charm. Gets past, he holds 6th, and continuing on the drive. That undercut has worked so beautifully for him at the moment. As we do see Jaco van Lith trying his drive. He's got Willem Buerta going to close up onto the back of them. Jaco van Lith hoping to get onto the back of Bego Krobler. And the lights of Willem Buerta, the RDSA, goes up on the inside, going to carve his way through. Jaco gives him a bit of drive through the corner, and Van der Lith needs to now just keep his hands, knees, and toes all tucked in to close up onto the back of Bego Krobler, because he is now going to foul up the likes of Willem Buerta through the corners for the next little round, and this is only going to be able to bring the likes of Willem Buerta into the running order. Bego Krobler stands onto the power. Quick flash of the lights coming from Willem Buerta to just allow the drive. He does come off the power, and that has worked out as we do see him just closing off the likes of Jaco van der Lith, but only just on that running order. A slight lift to just get it done and dusted, nearly compromising his position as the drivers continue on their bit of momentum. Jaco keeping the drive on will ensure he stays in for the fight here, as Bego Krobler still trying to give it everything he's got. Jacques Ever, the teammate, going and battling with the likes of Paul Gerber all over the back of him. Oh, runs out a little bit wide. And oh, so there is Justin Eloff as well, clipping the wall. He's going to get into the pits, try and get him sorted out. And that's going to allow Willem Buerta to get done and dusted and continue on his drive. Jaco van der Lith now all over the back of Bego Krobler through the hairpin. That was a bit of a slow move for Bego. Tires starting to feel a little bit of a drop-off from the heat and from the pressure. Jaco looking up on the inside. Going to try and go braking late as he can. Unfortunately, the Porsche just superior on the braking to get himself going. Justin Eloff needs to keep ahead of Yaz Samai. Sergei Sarkov claims a position and will continue on his drive. Bert Gildenaes keeping on to the back of Yaz Samai, who is still out on the back. And I do think they will have enough of a gap to the likes of Justin Eloff, who will remain in that 5th position. Yaz Samai, who has gained so much time on that earlier pit stop, now battling it out with Gildenaes as they charge after one another. Justin Eloff, though, rolling and now coming out of pit lane, holds 5th place and leading out those that have done their pit stops. Yes, Samai will try and continue on the drive. Bert Gildenaes doing his personal best of 118.9, where the likes of Yasamai with a 119.8 at current, that Audi R8, starting to feel it. His tires are a little bit older than the competition, and he will have to keep that well in mind through the tight and twisty circuits here at Long Beach. And it's going to be an absolute wild one. So far, it's going to be an interesting drive. Luke Lucchesi holds first. Yurian Pissoir in second place. Willem Buerta holding out in third. Sergei Sarkov running in fourth. Justin Eloff in fifth place. Yasser Mai is battling out with Kildenace. The Audi R8 against the Porsche, doing everything they can, fighting left, right, and center. Kildenace is on a hunt at the moment to try and get past this Audi R8, as Yaz trying to hold him back every which way possible, looking to try and keep it all together. Late onto the brakes, second gear on the way through. Kildenace just not able to get the drive around the likes of Yaz Mai, and you would believe how tight he's going to have to keep. Very close. A little bit of understeer, killed off the drive, had to come off the gas and a slight tap of the brake, and that has just opened up the gap a little bit more. Yasser Mai has got an opportunity to start pulling away. Kildenace running it right through the rev range of the Porsche, trying to make it sing all the way through. Now heading out into turn one. Going to be late on the brakes. If he can catch the momentum here, bit of a slingshot down into second gear, feed the power on as early as you can to get it going. Down the gears into first, through the fountain, and it's just absolutely close. Got to open up the corners here for the double right-hander as they swing the cars round, get a little bit of momentum. You can't cut that corner too much on the right-hand side. You will get a slowdown, and you will get an off-track as well, just to hurt you a little bit further. Paul Gerber all over the back of Jacques Eva as he tries to make his way through, and Jaco van der Lith also having a tight run with Johan Bego Krobler a little bit further through. We do see Yurian Pissoir pulling into the pit, so he's going for the undercut, try and beat out Justin Eloff as he comes around out the final sector here, late onto the anchors. Is it going to be enough though, as Yurian Pissoir is rolling? He's going to try and feed the power on. Is he going to have enough time? Here comes Justin Eloff, second in the championship, 1 point ahead of Julian Familiaris. Will have to ensure he keeps going here just a little bit further up through the order, and unfortunately not close enough to make it work. So once again, losing out that little bit of time, and immediately Justin Eloff is back onto the attack. Luke Lucchesi going and pulling into the pits as they continue on the drive. Kildenace still keeping Yasser Mai busy. The Asymmetric Racing team having Bert Kildenace onto the back of him. Paul Gerber, Team Tryhard, onto the Rhino Utility team, and Jaco van der Lith onto Bego Krobler. As the Rhino Utility both in a multiple fight. Willem Buerta now takes the lead of the race as he continues on his drive. A little bit further up the road, he is seeing this battle as Paul Gerber all over the back of Jacques Eva, looking left, looking right. They're going to have to keep an eye on this, keeping it nice and tight. Team Tryhard really is trying hard to make their way through and get a pass done and dusted on a beautiful circuit of Long Beach. Luke Lucchesi goes down into third place as he does his pit stop down and dusted. Sergei Sarkov will hold second in the Mustang, trying to break his way through. Will Yurian Pissoir have enough of a run to try and make up some time? I don't think so. Luke Lucchesi coming out on pit exit will hold third place. Yurian Pissoir tried his luck there, but Justin Eloff also just a little bit too late to the party as they try and make their way through. Paul Gerber still trying to maintain his drive to Jacques Eva just a little bit ahead. Jaco van der Lith trying to make up a little bit of time as well, as it does look like Yasser Mai. No! Yasser Mai looks like he may have disconnected. We may have just lost Yasser Mai out of the race. That is an absolute blow for Yasser Mai, who has been on an incredible drive. And looks like he's just tapering down the order. And that is, oh man, that is absolutely heartbreaking. And we're just getting some reports. Yasser Mai going and saying, unfortunately, massive technical failure has taken him out of the race. Well, this is my call out, Yaz. If you can get that all fired up and get going once again, you still have a bit of time. There's 15 cars out on the track. Points are available for the championship. Get back in it. Get going. You can do it. And I'm speaking on behalf of the entire grandstand here. We want to see you back out there and fighting out. Yurian Pissoir putting in the fastest lap time of the race as he continues on his drive. Daniel Fernandez out there in the virtual grandstand, quite happy for the huge fight. And yeah, saying, unfortunately, it is not in working order. Looks like the failure is a lot more critical than planned. Oh, man, that is gutting, considering you're on a drive of note. As we do see Sergei Sarkov coming out of pit lane. He is now done and dusted. All drivers have completed their pit stops. And it's now a race to the wire. Oh, Jakob van der Lith right underneath Bego Krobler. A little bit of a flash of lights there saying a quick sorry for going and hooking into the back of Bego Krobler's Porsche. As they were very, very slow on the entry to the hairpin. All starting to feel those tires hitting a drop-off. And now trying to just cycle his way back in for the fight. Everyone needing to see how the race can go. Bradley Searle now going and making his way through. So Bradley out from UK Island side, part of the Pandacity Infiltrate team, and continues on his drive through the order, having a stunning one on the way through. Remember, this driver over here was part of an earlier damaged car incident. He landed up absolutely mincing the rear of the vehicle, having the entire rear deck off, wing off, rear suspension, front suspension, all of it wrecked. And he's now trying to just limp it back to the line as time ticks away for this race. I mean, this is going to be an absolutely charging time. And yes, I have to agree, you are in for a shot for a top 5. And unfortunately, that mechanical issue coming into play took you out of it. But what a stellar run. That undercut was working rather well for Yaz Samai. Unfortunately, Lady Luck was just not in the pits this time. But definitely got a couple of feathers ruffled through our drivers. Sergei Sarkov out and going, trying to get a little bit more drive. He gets nice and close to the wall with that Mustang. Has got the likes of Willem Buerta. Is that that looks to be likes of Bradley Searle onto the back of him. Bradley trying to make up some time. Jakob van der Lith all over the back of Bego Krobler yet again. These two are going to go blow for blow on the running order through the fountain. Bego Krobler just maintaining his drive, not wanting to get lost into the fight. He wants to continue that a little bit further through the road. As we jump on board, this is off the gearbox of the likes of Bego Krobler, and you can see under braking. Now it's all starting to close. Yuri Umpi-Swart sitting the fastest lap time of the race. He is doing everything, desperately trying to close down the gap to Luke Leclerc at this point. Bego Krobler, though, trying to keep as close as he can to the wall. Try and open up those corners as much as possible on the way through. So the driver's having to really, really figure out what needs to be done. But lap after lap, keep an eye out on Yuri Umpi-Swart in the Acura, trying to make his way through. He is in between a multitude of Porsches and needs to continue on the drive here. Porsche's having a bit of an advantage by the looks of it around the circuit, around a very, very tight circuit of Long Beach. Into the toe, Jakob van der Lith, Bego Krobler just ahead, and Jakob keeping as close as he can as they continue on the drive. Late under braking, tries to hook it in and tries to continue on the momentum as they fight their way through. So far, Jakob van der Lith doing everything he can, throwing it hammer and tongs at Bego Krobler, who's not backing down from the fight. Drivers needing to just battle it out a little bit further as time still ticks away, and we're nearing the end of our 45-minute race for round 6 of the Raceface.Pro GT3 Sprint Series here out on iRacing. And drivers needing to figure out what's going to work out for the points. Willem Buerta running in 4th will continue on his drive. Bert Gildenace running in 5th position as they maintain a little bit more momentum on the running order. So everyone just getting as close as they can, battling it out. Gildenace trying to break away from Skuman and close down the gap to Willem Buerta, holding 4th place at current, and will continue on his drive that little bit further. So running order as it stands, Luke Leclerc does lead out the pack, along with Yuri Umpi-Swart, Justin Eloff, Willem Buerta, Bert Gildenace, Werner Skuman, Werner Swart, Sergei Sarkov, Yasin Ismail, along with Jock 7, Paul Gerber, Bego Krobler, Jakob van der Lith, Bradley Searle going and rounding out the pack. We do have one retirement, and that is Yaz Samai. Unfortunately, technical failure going and taking him out of the race. Closest battle out on circuit, though, is likes of Jakob van der Lith for the Rhino utility team, and Bego Krobler, who is still giving it everything he's got to try and break away really hammering the car down through the gears and staying on the power as late as possible to ensure he sticks it all together. The Porsche getting a little bit of a better drive. Oh, bit of contact into the wall for Jaco van der Lith on the exit, going and losing out that little bit of aero and having a bit of a wash there. And we do have Mr. Yuri Senior going and enjoying from the grandstands. Fantastic to see you. As, oh, that is a problem. Bego Krobler outbraked himself, and that has given the position to Jaco van der Lith. A very, very big mistake has taken him out of the running order, and now we'll have to try and keep it going. We aren't getting yellow flags for Paul Gerber, the team iRacing. He was on the drive, trying to make up some time. And where did it all go wrong for him? And, oh, the rear just stepped out. Oh, heavy impact into the rear. And now trying to get himself going. Later on, another sort of impact came into play. And this is after just limping it. Steering bent. He's fighting the car to get it back in towards pit lane and get it sorted out. So Paul Gerber not having the easy time out there. But that does allow likes of Bradley Searle to gain yet another position on his climb back up through the order. So it did fall down a little bit, but he is starting to chip away, and it's all about finishing. It's about that consistency, and that is what the circuit's all about. Consistency, rhythm, keep yourself going. Jurien Pissoir, though, fighting it out amongst the Porsches, holding second place, but just not closing that gap to Jurien, likes of Luc Leclerc ahead of him. 5 seconds up the road, and he will just have to be a little bit of a hot lapping moment at this point. Try and continue on the drive to stay in for the fight. Justin Eloff, same problem. He's a little bit too far back, about 4.3 seconds, and it's all about just lapping, keeping consistent. Oh, Justin's lost the rear, spins out. He's trying to get himself going. That is going to compromise him a lot. Massive loss of time. And there is Willem Buerta, who's now got the likes of Justin in his sights. 5 minutes to go, though. Has he got enough in the tank? Has he survived enough on the tires? Justin has going to be having his tires extremely overheated at this point, and now will be facing next to no grip for a little while as he's going to nurse those tires. He's lost out a lot to Jurien Pissoir and will have to continue on his drive to try and hold this third place. If he drops down into fourth, he can kiss his championship hopes goodbye very, very quickly. And now needs to do everything he can to keep it all in order. A bit more ginger around the corner. Not wanting to throw the car too far wide. Berk Hildenace, on the other hand, going to be quite happy on his running. Jurien Pissoir still keeping up his drive. And seeing he's running out of time here, I think he's going to be quite happy just with the second place at this point. We'll be trying to figure out what is going to be the next idea. What's going to be the next opportune moment to maintain, and also getting alerted that third place has gone and lost the rear of the car and not having an easy time out there. Willem Buerta now 3 seconds off the back of Justin Eloff. Both Porsches are going to be hunting each other down. Paul Gerber still in pit lane, now needing to get back out and going. Bradley Searle up into 13th position after being a lap down from the entirety of the field. He's managed to gain 2 positions on the running order and will be coming back fighting. He's lost out 5 positions off the start of the race due to the rear lighting up and falling down. Berk Hildenace, on the other hand, up 5 positions from where he started. And after that is going to be Jaco van der Lith up 4 positions. Sergei Sarkov, Yasin Ismail, and Jacques Hever have so far only gained 3 positions during the course of this race. Biggest loss, though, is Yaz Samai. Due to that critical failure, he's down 10 positions from where he started. Paul Gerber is down the order as well. Bradley is down likes of 5 positions. And Bego Krobler down 3 positions on the running order. Time starting to chip away once again. Luc Leclerc gaining as much pace as he can as he makes his way through the fountain here at Long Beach. Beautiful circuit, a bit of an ornament there. As you close down, many cars, whether it be Porsche Cups, GTs, Indy cars, a variety of vehicles have gone into that flower bed. I don't know how many times over the course of the years. And many of the drivers saying it's absolutely great to go and smell the flowers, but definitely not great to smell it during the course of a race when you go bailing into the bushes. Oh, Justin Eloff taking a bit of a move there, trying to pick up some time whatsoever. And unfortunately, that is going to be hurting out those tires a little bit further. He's pushing to do everything he can to maintain his position. Willem Buerta, 3.1 seconds behind. So Willem Buerta not getting lost off the back too much. He is trying to close up that gap, but I don't think it's going to be enough unless Justin loses out that rear properly in the order as they maintain their drive. Kildenace running in 5th, just has them in sight. Then we got Werner Skuman out in 6th. Also in the same shot, you can see him trying to close up the gap. Werner Swart for the Altered Carbon Racing, trying to make up a bit of time. Sergei Sarkov up in 8th position. Yasin Ismail going and running in 9th position. And so far, hasn't kissed the wall just as yet. He's got Jacques Ever 1.6 seconds behind the McLaren, doing everything he can. Oh, a little bit of a scrape up against the wall there. Not too happy. Will have to continue on the drive a little bit longer in the tow as they try and make up as much time as possible to keep on the power, to keep going that little bit further through the order. As Luke Leclerc runs out the pack, ticking off the time. 2 minutes, well, we're going in 1 minute left of the race for Luke Leclerc. And he's going to be smiling ear to ear on this one. Just got to try and get that timer running a little bit lower. And it's not going to be enough. When he comes across the line, he's going to have one more lap in it, I would say, as Yurion Piswat going to also get one more lap to just try and keep the momentum. Now 6 seconds back, so Yurion Piswat not having an easy time out there. He continues to rely getting on that power as late as possible. Luke Leclerc, with one more lap to go, will try his best to hold this first place. One little slide from any of these drivers can be a compromising, as we do see Jim waving that white flag, saying last lap, last lap, last lap. Jeff will be in the ears saying last lap, white flag, get going, and keep on the power. And for anyone that does actually want to know, the person that originally recorded the lines that you get to hear in iRacing and still continue to hear in iRacing, the gentleman's name is actually Jeff. He's an Australian. So whenever we say Jeff, it actually is Jeff, the Australian. So good to see, and a little bit of background information for all the drivers. Long Beach going and being an incredible one. And also Long Beach being the debut circuit for the Cadillac GTP when it came out. And also the LMP3 as well. So a bit of an interesting little bit tidbit going back into the world of history here in iRacing. And Bert Kildenace trying his best at the moment to close up the time. Luke Leclerc coming through the final sector. Gone and done an incredible job in the 00. Does see Johan Begar Krobler ahead of him. Not going to get past him there. He is going to allow Johan another lap around the circuit and gets back onto the power. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, finishing up first place for round 6 of the Raceface.Pro GT3 Pro Division. And we'll come across the line. Luke Leclerc takes the win over Yurion Piswat in second place. Justin Eloff will round out, holding that third place, only 3.3 seconds ahead of the likes of Willem Botha of the RDSA, running in that top 4. Bert Kildenace 5 positions up from where he started, takes 5th, and is going to be smiling all the way through. Werner Skuman will be next to come across the line for the Pandassi team, just narrowly missing out on that top 5. Will hold 6th place. Werner Swart for the Altered Carbon going and making up some time. Will finish up in 7th, exactly where he qualified. Sergei Sarkov comes across the line in 8th position. 9th, Yasin Ismail, who has got Jacques Ever trying to throw down one last time. Couldn't quite get the drive. And it's going to be Yasin getting 9th. Jacques Ever taking 10th. Jaco van der Lith will be the next one to come through for the Rhino Utility team. Will be holding 11th position. 12th is Bego Krobler. Bradley Searle will take 13th. Paul Gerber will hold 14th. Unfortunately, retiring out of the race. And Yassemai, due to critical failure, will round out in 15th position here for our Pro Division of the Raceface.Pro GT3 Sprint Series here on iRacing. What a stellar drive. What a drive by all our competitors out there. And it's an incredibly difficult circuit to get it done and dusted here at Raceface.Pro. And what an absolute time at the beautiful circuit of Long Beach. A circuit that had many people worried, but going and turning out to be one of the best running orders through it all. Absolutely amazing running through. So with that being said, let's take a look at our race results, folks, and see what everyone has done, as we do see the cars going to be pulling into the pits nice and easy. So let's take a look at our results. It is Luke Lucchesi out in first place. Yuri Swart in second. Justin Elof holds third, along with Willem Buerta, Bert Kildenace, Werner Skuman, Werner Swart, Sergei Sarkov in 8th, Yasin Ishmael running in 9th, and Jacques Taylor taking out that 10th. Jacob van der Lith taking 11th. Bagan Krobler will hold 12th. Bradley Searle in 13th position, making up a bit of time. Well, only one lap down from the order after having to tow back to the pits. Paul Herber will be in 14th, and 15th goes to Yaz Samai after critical failure, taking him out of the race, but still a splendid effort on his part that would have been into the top 5. So amazing, amazing racing had by all, and our drivers really powered their way to the sharp end of the field, showing off what they can do here at the beautiful circuit of Long Beach for round 6 of the championship. I'm going to see if we can get a couple of comments coming through from our drivers, or are they a bit worn out after a very, very difficult circuit that requires a lot of mental and physical focus to get done and dusted. We're starting to get our drivers coming through, and let's bring in our third place driver, Justin Elof, to come and have a chat to us here in the box. Justin Elof, welcome to the box and welcome to the commentary. Glad to have you here. What a race, and a difficult one nonetheless. A little bit of a slide on your part, nearly took you out of the running order. How do you feel about
it? Nothing happened. No one saw anything. iRacing didn't give me any incidents, so I don't believe what you guys are saying.
Fair enough. Okay. You plead the fifth, you've done some stuff, and you move on from there. Yeah. But how was this circuit for you? Everyone knows Long Beach a rather scary circuit to go and race on. Many actually avoid it out on the likes of the officials. How did you find it here at Long Beach?
No, it was pretty fun. The track was insanely hot, so the tires were like the cars were sliding all over. I think everybody was struggling for grip out there. The last hairpin is tricky with a steering wheel. You always have to do some weird holding of the wheel to get the car turned enough. But no, it was good fun. Luke and Umpi were really incredibly fast. I wasn't going to catch them.
Well, you did hold on to some points for your championship, taking second. You're taking third at the moment. You second place. Julian Familiaris was not here tonight, but Luke Lucchesi now a little bit closer to you. How are you feeling into the remaining races coming up the season? We got round 7, and then round 8 is a bit of a longer race. It's a bit of enduro. How are you feeling? Are you still thinking that that second place is going to be a bit of a difficult one, or is it an opportunity to move forward?
I haven't checked where Luke is at the moment, but I think once the drop rounds and stuff kicks in, he'll be much closer, especially since he's now got a win. But I think I can keep second, and as long as I can qualify well, we all know Luke likes to fall asleep on the start, so I can there and drive away.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, before I let you go to enjoy the celebrations here at the Long Beach and go absolutely mad by the coastal side, anything you would like to go and say to our partners here at the beautiful Raceface.Pro, and to all our partners, and also most importantly to the drivers, to the teams, and the absolute petrol heads out there in the virtual grandstands?
Yeah, just thanks for hosting it. Thanks for all the effort you guys put in, and it's good fun. It's a nice league to race in, and I hope more people join in the future. Maybe we should, mix it up a bit, get everybody in the same server or something. I don't know, but it's good fun.
Absolutely great stuff. Well done, Justin Elof, on your third place, and we're looking forward to seeing you back in for round 7, 2 weeks' time from here.
Cool, thanks.
Great to have him. Let's bring in our race winner, folks. The man, the myth, the legend, and is going to be smiling, taking a big win here tonight. Luke Lucchesi coming to the fray. Luke, how are you feeling? What a race out there, from first to first all the way through, and opening up such a bit of a gap at the start of the race.
Yeah, it finally came together. No pit entry violations. I didn't fall asleep at the start too badly, so at least Umpi couldn't cut off the line going into turn 1. So it's very difficult to pass here. So as long as you just look after the car and the tires and just maintain a consistent pace, then it's very difficult to get overtaken.
Now,
so that's what I did.
With the circuit being so narrow and so tight, is this one of these circuits that gets you a little bit worried, or is it something that you thoroughly enjoy?
I enjoy it. If you don't overdrive the car, then there's no risk of actually hitting the walls. It's when you start pushing the limits, trying to carry that little bit more speed, that's when you start hitting walls and start, you don't get rotation on the throttle if you're going too fast. And that's not actually the fast way around the circuit. The fast way is to actually just drive the car within its limits, maintain the levels of grip, get your turn in right, your apexes, and then get traction out of the corners.
Well, and now we got to talk about, you were fourth in the championship coming into this race. Julian Familiaris was not here to score any points. That's going to move you up a little bit closer, move you up towards third. Are you feeling a little bit more confident for the championship and taking the championship fight to Jurien Piswart and Justin Elof?
Yeah, look, I'll do my best. Look, anything can happen. Obviously, Rock and I might 40-second hold in the pit, so that sort of ruined my race. Otherwise, that could have been a result to actually move me up in the championship, but I suppose I'll just use that as a drop now. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, in some racing, anything can happen. You can get a PC malfunction, you can get a connection drop. So, yeah, the possibilities are high that something happens to one of the front two. And then I'm right back there. So I haven't looked at the points, but yeah, I've got to have a look and see what's happening now after the drops. So I'll just take it one round at a time and just take it from there.
With that being said, we've got 8 rounds in the championship. The final round is a little bit of a longer race, an enduro. Do you feel that you can score big in the race, and that's going to be heading out towards the beautiful Spa-Francorchamps?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure how the Porsche is compared to the Acura at Spa, competitive-wise. I actually enjoy the longer races. It's also about managing the car, managing the tires, planning your pit stops properly, staying out of trouble. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely great.
It'll be fun.
Well, before I let you go and enjoy the celebrations here by the side, or the coast side, anything you would like to say to all the drivers, teams, to the partners here at Raceface.Pro, and most importantly, the virtual grandstand?
Yeah, just thanks to everyone who's watching the stream. Thanks to my parents who watch and support every race that I do online. Thanks to Doe and Raceface and yourself. Without you guys, the series wouldn't happen. It's a really fun, enjoyable series. So yeah, and everyone who's in the grandstands, get yourself a rig and come and join us.
That's a good bit of fun, a bit of excitement, and absolutely awesome to hear. Luke Lucchese, congratulations on your first place. Well done on keeping the rhythm and conquering the city streets of Long Beach.
Thanks. Keep well.
Absolutely great stuff to have a chat to Luke Lucchese, our race winner here tonight on the beautiful circuit of Long Beach. But that being said, folks, that does bring us to the end of our broadcast. What a stunning, stunning run for the incredible racing out here at Raceface.Pro. We're going to be heading in 2 weeks' time out towards Hungaroring, and next week we're going to be having some BMW M2 versus Gen 3 supercars, so don't miss out on that. This Sunday we've got the likes of Le Mans Ultimate being raced, so don't miss out on all the action if you want to go and have some multi-class racing out on Le Mans Ultimate. Sign up at Simgrid on the way through. It's going to be a wild, wild run. Round 7 at Hungaroring before we end up at round 8, an 18-minute race. It's going to be the longest race of the championship for the drivers to fight their way through. And around Spa-Francorchamps, anything can happen. The bus stop may turn into a rather difficult run. I've got to say, looking forward to the championship, and the points are looking incredibly close. Who is going to be able to get the win here today, and who's got the win coming up next week and at Spa? Who's going to walk away with the crown for our iRacing GT3 Pro Division Season 3 after some incredible fights? But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon, leave us a like with all the racing. Let us know what is your favorite circuit to race around on any sim that you choose to. Let us know down in the comments. Fantastic to see it. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and like always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.